Hello, this is Watchdog. Welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches were fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Sinobi S9870G Chronograph. Start out with the wrist check. I'm still wearing this Invicta Mickey Mouse watch. And Grogo's still wearing my Addy's Planet Earth watch. Grogo said that the Mos Eisley Cantina band would serve some extra spicy bantha chili, and it inspired them to make their new hit song and album, Band with the Runs, Band with the Runs. Alright, let's take a look at the watch. Comes in this box. It says Sinobi. I assume it's Sinobi. Sinobi just sounds dumb, but who knows. And here it is. This is the first Sinobi on my channel. I really don't consider this a pilot's watch, rather an airplane themed watch. The only thing associating it with aviation is that they replaced the left subdial with a fighter plane. If they replaced it with a Pittsburgh Steelers helmet, it would be a football themed watch. However, it is a nice looking watch for the money. I looked to see if this was an homage, and although it kind of resembles an IWC, I didn't see one which mixed the size of the numbers, nor did I find anything with an airplane for a subdial. Then I found an AV8 that had the mixed numbers, but not the airplane subdial. Be sure to leave a comment if it is an homage to something. There are 5 different colorways, and I chose the black and yellow because I thought it was the nicest looking of the 5. Plus, it was one of the few that didn't have stitching on the strap. It said the strap was silicone, but some of them look more like faux leather. The watch is 42.7 millimeters at the bezel, 50.1 millimeters lug to lug, 10.8 millimeters thick, has a 22 millimeter lug width, and weighs 72 grams on the supplied silicone bracelet. The bezel has these scallops on it, although it doesn't rotate or anything, they're just decoration. And then the dial, as you can see, it's a flat black, well, it's a glossy black, but there's no sunburst effect, I should say. And then it has the Sinobi name on the right there, and then it says Chronograph, and then nothing, no other writing other than, of course, the watch writing. Nothing that says like Japan movement or China movement or whatever. And then we got the tachymeter, which is useless because it has a small second chronograph, not a big second. And then we have the indices. We have large numbers at the evens, and we have small numbers at the odd, and of course nothing at the 12 and the 6 because the subdials are on the way. And then the hands are skeleton hands with loom tips, and there's nothing on the second hand though, but the second hand is hitting all the marks pretty good. So if you have the Quartz second hand OCD, this will not set you off. And then we have the subdials. The bottom subdial is the chronograph hand. Sorry. The top is a chronograph sub-second counter. It has 20 marks, but it loops every 2 seconds. So it's only good for 1/10 of a second because it loops every 2 seconds. And then where the fighter plane is the minute counter. So the fighter plane is really a minute counter, but unfortunately there's no scale there, so it's really hard to tell the minutes. But let me go ahead and turn on the chronograph and so you can see it in action. Well, why don't I get these hands out of the way first, because that's kind of stupid. Alright, hands are out of the way. Let's go ahead and turn on the chronograph. As you can see, once again, this loops every 2 seconds. So even though there's 20 marks, it's only a 1/10 of a second counter. And these are your seconds, of course. And this is your minute counter. So we're not going to wait a full minute though to see this thing move. But basically this minute counter makes it pretty useless as a chronograph. So if your goal is to have a chronograph, don't buy this watch. So let's go ahead and reset it. And of course, not being a Mecha Quartz, instead of an instant snapback, you get the fast rewind. And then we have a date at the 3. The date at the 3 looks nice. It fits it. It doesn't stand out. So it's a lot better than a lot of chronographs that have the date at the 4:30. The crown is a push-pull. You only get 30 meters of water resistance, so of course you're not going to get a screw down. And the crown action is kind of loose. You go to set it, and then you go to push it in. And you got to be really careful, otherwise you get a minute hand jump, which is just, that's the thing about cheap quartz watches. You get that minute hand jump going on, and it makes setting it really hard. Of course, being the quartz, you don't have to set it very often. Then the pushers are not screw down because, of course, you only got 30 meters, so why would they do that? And then the crystal is a flat mineral glass. It seems to do a good job, not that much reflection. Of course, you're not going to get a sapphire on a $20 watch. And if I didn't mention the price, this watch is about $20. Then the case, you don't get solid stainless steel for 20 bucks either. This is a PVD coated alloy. But see, it's nice. It's nice and thin. And it's kind of a matte finish. And then the case back is a press on, and there's no fake stuff making it look like a screw down. Then it says stainless steel back. That's a good indicator that the case is not. And then it just says water resistant. When you hear water resistant and no meters, then that means 30. Then we got the, look at the case back has a sunburst effect that the dial does not. And then it gives you the model number, S9870G. And then the movement is a Sunon PE90. I went ahead and popped the case back because it didn't say in the ad, and sure enough it says it on the actual movement. I looked up Sunon, and they're a Hong Kong company. So yeah, Hong Kong is part of China now, so technically it's a Chinese company, but Hong Kong and China are still a little separate. I would say Hong Kong is a step up from China, but the movement, once again, it's okay. At least it has a sub-second counter. It's just really loose crown action though. The strap is silicone. It feels like silicone, but it's not too slick. It doesn't feel, some silicone, the really cheap stuff feels really slick, but this is just, it's okay. And then it's got a little pattern here to help keep sweat off your wrist. And then there's two keepers, and one keeper, there's these little nibs here to keep it fixed, and it seems to work okay. Then the buckle though is metal, not plastic, and it's not super sturdy, but it's not horrible either. It's good enough for what it's doing. This is not a particularly heavy watch. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. It's a nice looking watch. I like it. It's fun. And yeah, that fighter plane makes the kind of useless, but it still tells the time. And I got 4 notches left. So you should be able to wear this if you have an 8.5. And then it looks like I got plenty of notches to go in, so you can wear this if you have a really small wrist too. Although this is almost a 43mm watch, so I don't know if you'd want to wear it if you had a really small wrist. Here we are in the loom room. Since this has a silicone strap, I wore it to bed and was quite surprised I could see it after the lights went out. So I think this test is going to be pretty good. As we speed up the time, things aren't that bad. The small odd-numbered indices are the weakest and the first to go. Then the large number even indices go next. But it is the hands that count, and the hands are doing very well for a $20 watch. What do I like about this watch? Well, I like the looks of it. It's a nice looking watch. I like the fact that the second hand hits the marks. And I like the fact that it has a sub-second counter. Most chronographs at this price do not. And I like the fact that the hand loom's pretty good. Yeah, the rest of the loom is not, but the hand loom's not bad. What are my gripes and groans? Small second chronograph hand makes the tachymeter useless. And there's some alignment issues on the subdials. As you can see, that bottom one doesn't quite line up. And if I It's adjustable, but if I adjust it one over, then it goes too far in the other direction. And also the sub-second counter, you too can see that it's just a little bit to the left. And then this fighter plane, it's also a little bit offset to the left, but if I adjust it to the right, then it's too far to the right. And even though this airplane makes this watch a little fun and an airplane watch, it makes the minute hand counter useless, which makes the chronograph useless. Do I recommend this watch? Well, it depends if you want a chronograph with a useful minute counter, because this one is quite useless. Other than that, it's not a bad watch considering the price, and it is fun, it's nice looking, and it's comfortable. So yeah, once again, if you like the looks, get it. If you want a useful chronograph, though, do not. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Sinobi S9870G, and I will be back with another review. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.